We are Virginia Tech. We are sad today, and we will be sad for quite a while. We are not moving on. We are embracing our mourning. We are Virginia Tech. We are strong enough to stand tall tearlessly. We are brave enough to bend to cry, and sad enough to know we must laugh again. We are Virginia Tech. We do not understand this tragedy. We know we did nothing to deserve it, but neither does a child in Africa dying of AIDS. Neither do the invisible children walking the night away to avoid being captured by a rogue army. Neither does the baby elephant watching his community be devastated for ivory. Neither does the Mexican child looking for fresh water. Neither does the Appalachian infant killed in the middle of the night in his crib in the home his father built with his own hands, being run over by a boulder because the land was destabilized. No one deserves a tragedy. We are Virginia Tech. The Hokie Nation embraces our own and reaches out with open heart and hands to those who offer their hearts and minds. We are strong and brave and innocent and unafraid. We are better than we think and not quite what we want to be. We are alive to the imagination and the possibility. We will continue to invent the future through our blood and tears, through all this sadness. We are the Hokies. We will prevail. We will prevail. We will prevail. We are Virginia Tech.
And you saw
Today's a memorable day, and perhaps most memorable for some of us because of the connection to the shootings at Virginia Tech, which happened in 2007. And I was living just down the road in Radford, Virginia in the New River Valley, so I have a kind of close connection to the actual events of the day and the aftermath. And so today, instead of using a kind of a traditional calendar of lesser feasts and fasts, I thought, well, I would tell you about another saint, and that saint is Levu Librescu. Librescu was one of the professors who happened to be teaching. He was on an exchange program with Virginia Tech, and so he was a scholar working abroad. He was a professor in Tel Aviv in Israel. Librescu was teaching at Virginia Tech at the time of the shootings, and a lot of people don't know the story of Librescu and what happened at the very end. But to give you a bit of background, he was a Romanian who ended up being shipped off to a concentration camp. He survived the Holocaust, married his wife who also survived the Holocaust. They later would be persecuted, and he would smuggle out some of his academic work to Holland where it was published, and finally he was allowed to move to Israel, where he settled in Tel Aviv and taught at the university there. He was brilliant. He was a scholar, and he was a survivor. He had seen some of the worst atrocities the world has ever known. And he was on this exchange program teaching in Blacksburg, Virginia, at Virginia Tech. And the gunfire started happening on the hall in Norris Hall. And many of the students tell how Librescu told his 23 students to immediately go and jump out the windows. It was 22 feet off the ground from those windows, but they jumped anyway at his insistence. And Librescu himself held the door and barricaded himself against the door to prevent the shooter from having access to the room. In the end, Librescu was shot 4 times through the door. Only one of the students in Librescu's class was hit by gunfire, and that student lived. And all of the other students lived because their professor died in their place. Maybe, and strangely, it's fitting that April 16th is also Holocaust Remembrance Day, a day when a Holocaust survivor took the place of all of these students by laying his own life down. To me, that is the epitome of love. And so that's why I thought for the Love Stream that what better story could I tell than the story of love incarnate there, a teacher who was willing to sacrifice everything for his students. And so on this day, we remember the students and the staff and the police and all the people of the New River Valley. We remember that we are still Virginia Tech. We give thanks to God for all the first responders who worked valiantly then and who today are working valiantly against a new sort of evil in the world. The evil doesn't go away, it just sort of changes. And when the evil changes, it reveals the heroes in our society. And so be on the lookout today for a new hero, somebody who is going above and beyond, somebody who is blooming where they're planted, as my grandmother would say. They're everywhere, and I wish you well and hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless you. Spread the love.
And it's long.